And good morning. Welcome to the Focus on Stafford County show here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Our once-a-month visit, find out what's going on to our neighbors to the south of Great Bend. Joining us here on the program today, her maiden voyage on the solo show today.
Right.
Yeah, Kathleen Norman joining us. I don't think it's going to be any problem at all. Kathleen is the assistant director of the Stafford County Economic Development and sitting in, well, she's usually here with Carolyn Dunn. Carolyn's at meetings today, so great to have you back in studio today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for coming up here for the trip. And before we get started here on some of these things, you're kind of new to the position, but kind of, again, give us your background. This pretty cool story on how you came to Stafford County and how you are thriving in the county right now.
Right, yeah. So I officially joined the team in this capacity back in December, but that was not my first time with the organization. A lot of my background has been in nonprofit management and workforce development, more in North Central Kansas. But in 2019, I saw the opportunity to serve as an AmeriCorps Vista, working on a remote work center and business incubator for Stafford County. And so I took that opportunity then, and so was there from February to December in 2019, working with Carolyn and at the time Ashley. Had a really good experience, but then had the opportunity. The role was only for a year, and so moved on to another opportunity. But as Ashley moved on to other things last year, both she and Carolyn were back in touch with me to see if I might be interested in coming back to the team.
Where's home?
So I grew up in the Omaha area. Papillion is a suburb there.
Sure.
So
A Nebraskan. Okay. Well,
yes.
Very, very good. So what high school do you go to? Was that Papillion High School?
So I went to Papillion La Vista High School.
Okay.
It's the Papillion La Vista School District, and currently there's two high schools.
Okay. So when you're in high school and you sit there going, boy, I want to become an AmeriCorps Vista. AmeriCorps Vista. Where'd that interest come from?
So I'd always done a lot of volunteer work and been interested in, helping others and whatnot. And so my bachelor's degree is actually in fashion and textiles with a minor in computer art. Though I knew like in high school that the Peace Corps existed, but in college I became aware of AmeriCorps, which is kind of the domestic version of the Peace Corps. So it's, working on important projects within the United States in a 1-year commitment versus a 2-year commitment. But it's the goal of AmeriCorps is to help kind of do capacity building to eliminate poverty.
So what college did you attend?
I went to the State University of New York College at Oneonta.
So you were very comfortable in leaving home for different adventures then? I
was. And actually, that was my first experience living rural. Oneonta is a town of about 10,000. In upstate New York, though more on the southern tier region. And so it was a good opportunity. And it sounds like I went far from home, but my dad's extended family all lived in that area. So I was about 20 minutes from my grandma.
Okay. So, all right. You still have a life preserver thrown out there.
Yeah, I had a safety net.
Yeah, well, that's okay. So then you come back and get that opportunity. Were your first impressions when you came to Stafford County?
It was interesting because I kind of have downsized slowly since college and the size of community I lived. I spent a number of years up in the Concordia area, which is about 5,000.
Sure.
So what I saw when I was first visiting Stafford County and St. John was just how, in some ways, thriving the communities kind of seemed or felt. There are things to do. In the city of Stafford, like they have a movie theater and, there's a couple of restaurants and a grocery store. And then within St. John, there was the brand new grocery store that opened. There's, a Dollar General. They have a skating rink that I haven't checked out yet, but is on my list. And it's been a good experience. I had the opportunity to live on the city square, which was, I know it's a beautiful setting. I love getting to look out at it every day. since my desk faces it. So there's perks like that you don't get other places.
Okay, well, we're glad to have you in Stafford County right now. And it's an exciting time down there with Stafford County Economic Development. A lot of things going on. We talk about them once a month here on the program, but one annual event that's coming up here that we want to touch on here today, it's the upcoming St. John Jubilee. That's going to be May 28th and 29th. So tell me how Stafford County Economic Development is involved with this.
Yeah, so the overall Jubilee we're less involved with, though we are having a couple events this year. But I want to highlight a couple things with the general Jubilee. So that's kind of the annual town festival. And so there's a carnival that sets up, so arcades, amusement rides. There'll be vendors set up. I know I was able to attend in 2019, so they're normally outside on the square, but they relocated them inside because weather. So I think they'll, hopefully the weather's good. It's always a good time regardless. But there's a cornhole tournament on Friday night that people should sign up in advance, and they can get more information from the city office. The Adam Capp band is playing Friday night at the beer garden. And Saturday they have the parade at 1:30 p.m. So that's kind of the rundown. The full schedule of all events and things will be put out next week, and people can find that information on the Around the Square St. John Facebook page. But economic development has two particular things that we're doing. The first is there'll be a mural ribbon cutting on Friday at 6:30 p.m. And so I don't know if you remember, but last year, right as COVID hit, we had an artist come in and paint a mural in Stafford. So Inga Oila painted a beautiful scene of kind of the settlers coming to the area. And so we're working to get the interpretive panels installed that will kind of explain the history of the founding of St. John. And so that's been fun.
Is the artist going to be there?
So we're going to invite, she had hoped to come back for when we did this. So fingers crossed it works in her schedule.
There's probably a lot of excitement about the Jubilee this year because last year
it was canceled.
It was canceled.
Yeah. So I think it will be, I think lots of people are excited. And so it should be a good time.
Okay. Talking to Kathleen Norman, she is the Assistant Director of the Stafford County Economic Development. Another thing, this is going to be really neat because we've talked a lot about it. There's going to be an open house for the K-State house during the Jubilee.
Yeah, so the house that we've been working on with the K-State Architecture Department, we're going to have an open house. The goal is that it will be completely finished. But even if we don't make that deadline, we will still be welcoming people to see. And like drywall's been going up this week. So, I mean, we're getting closer. We are making good progress.
Tell me about, this will be the first of how many, hopefully?
So, total of 9. So total of 10. So 9 additional houses we're looking at putting up in the county.
Okay, what's the address that people can come by and take an early look?
So the house is located at 8th and Broadway.
Okay.
So the thing is, I'm not sure what the official house number will be.
8th and Broadway is the best way to do it anyway.
Because it faces 8th Street, but currently the street address is registered for Broadway. So I don't know what they'll
But at corner of 8th and Broadway, if people want to go by and see it. Kathleen Norman joining us here on the program today. Anything else about St. John Jubilee?
Just the open house is 9 to noon on the Saturday morning.
Okay, we're going to take a break here. Hear from our great sponsors of Focus on Stafford County. Have more for you coming up after this.
Hey folks, this is Trey Bergen with Ag 360 Insurance. With storm season approaching, making sure your irrigation systems are covered correctly is extremely important. At Ag 360 Insurance, we have multiple companies that provide great coverage at a competitive price. We would appreciate an opportunity to earn your business. Feel free to stop by our office in St. John or give us a call at 620-549-3579. You can also check us out online at ag360insurance.com.
SJN Bank of Kansas knows the value of rural Kansas and is committed to all of the communities they serve, personal to business banking and more. They offer mobile banking options too. Download their app at SJN Bank of Kansas and find them online at sjnbank.com. Serving you since 1905 and with 6 locations. SJN Bank of Kansas in St. John, Maxville, Hudson, Burdett, Greensburg, and La Crosse. Member FDIC. Jubilee. The St. John Jubilee is coming back. Memorial Day weekend, Friday, May 28th and Saturday, May 29th. Booth spaces are available. If you are a business or a side hustle looking to showcase your products and services, a booth space is a great and very affordable option for you. Contact the St. John City office to reserve your spot. For a full schedule of events, check out the Around the Square St. John, Kansas Facebook page, the 2021 St. John Jubilee. It all happens Memorial Day weekend in downtown St. John. Be listening for more details.
Back on Focus on Stafford County today, Steve Webster with Kathleen Norman, the Assistant Director of Stafford County Economic Development. Okay, this is always my favorite thing to talk about because it's so exciting. Give me an update on what's going on with the Port Authority and where we've gone with that maybe since our last visit last month.
So lots of meetings, lots of, there's a lot. It's a lot of communication and talking. And so the biggest thing was that yesterday morning, the public hearing was held on the plan for development. So that was an opportunity for the public to voice or send in written comment either in favor or opposition to the proposed plan that was published. I don't know, it was at least 30 days ago. There's a certain protocol that has to be followed in this. And so there's quite a few people there, like 10 to 15. It was at 8 a.m. yesterday. And there is more questions than necessarily strict opinion in favor or against it. And so the Port Authority Board of Directors has now adopted that plan for development. And so that's looking at a piece of land that's about a mile bird's eye southwest of the city of St. John. It's adjacent to the existing BSNF rail. And so this would be basically creating a mile loop track that would allow for the loading and unloading of rail. And so essentially moving freight from rail cars to trucks and trucks to rail. So we're looking at we'll have an anchor tenant who will come in and do stuff. Right now that's in grain, but we're also looking at other services and businesses that might utilize it. Fertilizer's one, particularly liquid fertilizer. It's safer to get it off the roads and easier to transport via train. So some of it's still kind of figuring out the pieces, but if people want to see the full plan, it is on staffordport.com. We have the full plan. There's a conceptual drawing, and then I've also created a map that kind of shows the like it has the city and its location of the rail and everything, so they can kind of get a sense of what we're talking about location-wise.
So we're moving forward with this now.
So it is moving forward in terms of there's still things to line up, and some of that is the funding piece. So we're looking at, where can we get the funding to help do the rail infrastructure build out, because that will be owned by the Port Authority. And so there'll be grants coming over this summer. Mm-hmm. Potentially everything could line up and we could be constructing in the fall if things go smoothly. There's a lot of different pieces to this puzzle, I guess. And one of those right now is that both the city and the county will be having a hearing on the proposed implementation of a TIF district. And so that's a tax increment finance district. And so it's similar to, it's a similar tool to, say, having a bond. So like a bond, what happens is you raise taxes and that new tax revenue goes to funding a project like that. Instead of raising taxes, what happens is with the TIF district, the capital improvements, the property taxes at that new level will go back into the port to pay for like kind of any of the debt that's taken on for a set period. But the county will still collect the existing taxes it already was collecting, and incrementally we'll see the benefit of those capital improvements. So it's more of like a delay of seeing that. But the initial infrastructure wouldn't happen if we don't fund the rail development. So it's new tax money that's coming in, but the county won't readily see it right away. But it wouldn't happen if we don't use it for
That's
financing.
a great way to decide. That was very efficient, okay? Because I think I kind of understood it a little bit. So, that's good if you could do that. So tell me, we have an anchor tenant, right?
Yes.
Tell me about this company.
So Wind River Grain is looking to build out some grains and have that transload facility for the grain side of things. So they're based in Garden City, and so this would be more of an expansion of their operations. They're going to maintain what they're doing there. Mm-hmm. And so this will allow opportunity for some of our existing grain people to sell to them and have a different opportunity for transport. And overall, like farmers in the area should see an increase in the amount they're getting per bushel. It's hard to know exact numbers yet, but it will be beneficial in a broader spectrum.
Of course, we're still moving along here. Do you have a wishful time frame on what's going to happen?
I do not, because there's a couple pieces. So our side of it will be lining up our funding to get the rail infrastructure in place. And so some of the grants that we're looking at, the construction would start this fall. Like, if everything goes well and we get awarded stuff. And so then once that's done, then that's when you would be looking at these private companies would be looking at starting their infrastructure development. So to know exactly like when the port's open for business is a little ambiguous.
Boy, there's a lot of juggling going on here because then you're also dealing with the railroad.
Correct. So, so that's one of the things in the process is we've been working well with the railroad up until now. So there shouldn't be issues necessarily. The railroad is supportive of what we're doing.
Well, yeah,
so
they like that.
We shouldn't see issues in terms of, but they'll have to have final approval of what the plan is. So some of that's being discussed of how much do we build out now in terms of do you have one loop? Do you have like an inner, like there's a lot of factors, and that's what kind of affects whether it's going to be like a $7 million project or a $10 million project on our side. That's not to even mention how much will be spent on the side of the companies that choose to lease land and utilize the port.
Wow. Okay. So
lots of moving parts.
Yes, there's a lot of moving parts. We're going to take another break. We'll be back for our final segment coming up right after this.
The St. John Jubilee is coming back. Memorial Day weekend, Friday, May 28th and Saturday, May 29th. Booth spaces are available. If you are a business or a side hustle looking to showcase your products and services, a booth space is a great and very affordable option for you. Contact the St. John City office to reserve your spot. For a full schedule of events, check out the Around the Square St. John, Kansas Facebook page. The 2021 St. John Jubilee. It all happens Memorial Day weekend in downtown St. John. Be listening for more details.
The friendly staff at Stafford County Drug appreciates your patronage. The lobby is open and they offer a convenient drive-up window. They'll even deliver your prescriptions in Stafford, St. John, and Maxville for free. Stafford County Drug knows the value of a hard-earned dollar and wants to work with you and your doctor to make prescriptions easy. For any questions on switching your prescriptions to your local pharmacy, call pharmacist Chris Davis, 620-377-5633. Stafford County Drug, open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Inside White's Food Liner, Highway 281, St. John.
Welcome back. Focus on Stafford County. Today, Kathleen Norman with us. She is the Assistant Director for Stafford County Economic Development, talking about the Port Authority update and some exciting things that it's starting to move forward here. So the meeting yesterday, what were some of the frequently asked questions that you heard yesterday?
So I think people were kind of curious a little bit more about the operational side of things, for lack of a better term. And so, like, one question came up is, will Stafford County, like business, have maybe more favorable terms than outside companies coming into the port? What are the length of these like lease agreements? Mm-hmm. Which they're all very, very good questions. We're not there yet, I guess, in terms of the planning. Like, that's part of what's being developed. Mm-hmm. The port board, we went to the port of Catoosa. Well, and I got to go as staff to the port of Catoosa.
That's pretty cool down there in Tulsa.
It was. And so the thing is, they're a public entity. We are a public entity, which means that your documents, like leases, are public record. And so they've been very helpful in sharing, what their leases are. There's certain things that where you do have the ability to, people aren't going to be necessarily able to see exactly what companies are doing business wise. But they're, everything will become public record. And so it's not necessarily going to be public discussion what lease terms are, but like once leases are in place, people would have the ability to request them. So there is a transparency being a public entity. Like all of the meetings, anyone can attend the board meetings. Right. There's not currently one scheduled, but when it gets scheduled, it'll be posted on the website. We try to post it on EcoDevo's Facebook page. It gets posted at the courthouse. And so people are welcome to attend those meetings to observe and see what's happening. And then they could follow up later if they have questions or concerns. So.
It's a big deal.
It is. It's exciting. So it will be, it's big. So it's hard for me to get my head wrapped around it all the time.
Port of Catoosa, that's river, isn't it? Or
yeah,
water transportation?
Yeah, so it is the nearest inland port on water. So yeah, it flows. There's several rivers, but essentially kind of and it ends up on the Arkansas into the Mississippi.
Has all those locks and goes down by Muskogee, and it's really cool navigation system they've got there.
But they also do, a lot of it was interesting to see, it's a lot, they still deal with the rail part of it because it's rail to the barges to the rail, and then also they do some trucking. And so it's a lot of coordinating and pieces that are moving together.
That'd have been fascinating to go on that trip. I would think that'd have been awesome.
Oh, it definitely was. So when the opportunity came up, if I was interested, I was like, yes. Yes, I would like to go see that.
Well, that helps it all come into perspective a little bit. So people are wondering, well, what does this thing look like? You mentioned earlier, people can see what this kind of is going to look like a little bit.
Yes. So on the website, again, staffordport.com, under the plan for development, it's an engineered drawing or schematic that shows like where they exist to scale, where the BSNF line is, how the loop comes in. I think they kind of have some placement of where potentially this tenant will go in. And so it's a good way to see kind of the technical side. And then there's also that other map that gives just a more general like location. What are we talking about?
Okay, that's on the Stafford EcoDevo website.
Well, staffordport.com.
Okay.
There's links from EcoDevos to Stafford Port, but everything's on the staffordport.com.
Kathleen, great job.
Thank you.
Well, tell Carolyn quit slacking. Okay? No, great job. Kathleen Norman has been joining our guest today on Focus on Stafford County here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Stay tuned. Coming up, we'll have news at the top of the hour. KVGB, Great Bend.